And we are live. Good morning. And welcome to the Auto Hub Show. My voice is a little crackly because I've got this cough I can't seem to get rid of, but I'm doing my best. So I'm going to be launching 2 interviews later this week. One's with Jeff Williams from Zip Deal. It's going to be a quick excerpt from that. And the other one's Mr. Bello. He has a product that's interesting with VIN numbers, which you'll see on the one-on-one show. So here we go. So that's a segment of the video. You can definitely watch it. It'll be up later. Let's try to kill this thing now. Okay. So we're going to kill that. 1 sec. And then we have a brand new trailer reel. So this is the first time playing it. So hopefully it goes well. We'll see. And welcome to season 6 of the Auto Hub Show. If you're going to be at NADA, I will have t-shirts and hats at scale that will be at the really affordable price of 100% free. It's all on me in the show. And of course, the sponsors probably help fund some of that. But if you are going to be at the Auto Hub Show, let me know. If you're not, definitely let me know. I'm happy to mail you out whatever I have left. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go.
Life is about connection. Having a support system to lean on. And roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way. We are building the connections that move you.
One of the really nice things about Larry, one of the reasons that we brought him to our dealership is he's so very much aligned with our core values. So with our brand, which is thoughtful and professional service. And because that alignment really worked out well, because he was so committed to the success of others, we really knew that he was the right person to spend time with our sales team, with our managers and each sales consultant. And we're just really thrilled to have a partnership with him. And so we thank him.
How do you adventure? Is it fast? Is it free? Is it clear? Is it rugged? Is it remote? For your next adventure, trust MotoClose for buying, selling, trading, and protecting all of your motorized assets. Powered by Disclose Dealership Management Dashboard, your all-in-one DMS, CRM, menu, lead gen, inventory, staff, client, and deal management solution. Disclose DMD, like a DMS, only better. Mention promo code AutoHub 2025 to get special pricing, including waived setup costs, no contract, and your first month's free.
Car dealers often underestimate the power of social media. Are you wondering why my face is plastered in your newsfeed? Are you a GM, dealer principal, or a manager at a car dealership wondering why you see me all the time on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and all over social media? Well, that didn't happen by chance. I target car dealers that are in-market shoppers for social media services, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for you so that you target in-market shoppers for your brand of customers that purchase your vehicles. During my Viato days, helping car dealers appraise and price cars, everyone was asking me, what do I do on social media? What do I do with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? And this was back in 2016. So here we are 10 years later. I started a company, became an entrepreneur, and now I help car dealers. They either outsource their social media needs to us, or we have a training and education center where we can teach all of your employees how to do social media in-house. 90% of consumers actually follow a business on Instagram. The average adult sits on TikTok for 2 hours a day in the rabbit hole. To learn more information about it or to get a demo from one of my sales associates, click the link below. We would absolutely love to help you.
I love her new video. Actually, I still prefer the car ear one with the dog ear one from a couple of years ago. But anyway, here we go. So good morning. Let me just stop. Go over. Here we go. Good morning and happy New Year to everybody. Wow, this is it's been an interesting year so far. I guess the big question is, since we have some regulars back on, I think Troy was the first, and I believe Larry's on via phone. I'm not sure. Anyway, Troy, why don't you start, since CDK Global is our platinum sponsor this year, and also I assume you're going to be at NADA, so maybe you could tell us more about the big plans for NADA 2025.
Well, thanks, Ian. And like you said, I'm Troy from CDK. I work up here in Western Canada. And hugely looking forward to NADA. It's always a fun. It's like our vendor Super Bowl. We joke about where we go take up 2 city blocks and then stand up and scream for 72 hours straight, which is great. But in all seriousness, though, it's our chance to show off, and I'm excited about it. Lots of AI stuff, and when we look at the way that NADA's evolved over the last 6 or 7 years that I've been going. It started out where I think in my year one, it was the first year that it was 50% technology vendors at NADA. And I think now I would argue it's probably high 80s at this point, where if it's not solely a technology, it's a integrated technology of some sort, which is very exciting for folks like us. But I'm looking forward to it. 2025 in the rearview mirror. Now we're excited for 25. Lots of great things coming out, and onward and upward.
So what are you featuring, or what's new? What's the hot shiny bongo for 2025? I'm just curious.
Well, it's funny. We've had AI shows on the Auto Hub Show for many instances, and everyone's got their version of what AI is. But our embedded AI system is going to be shown off in quite a strong fashion, and we have a few new very cool tools using our business analytics and AI. So I would say AI is going to be the flavor of the day, but there's a lot of other great stuff in terms of our modernization and whatnot that we're going to be showing. So all new screens, all new technology with the AI built in, and 50 years of experience working with customers like all of our customers, or all of our dealers. So.
Fantastic. Brandy, new sponsor this year for 2025 season 6. Cool new video. I actually really like the sort of outdoorsy feature of it. Obviously, are you going to be at NADA this year, or are you looking at next year?
Sadly, not this year. We're not quite ready to swim with these big guys, but we are excited for some of our new features coming out, some of our new partnership integrations. We just aligned with eDealer for automatic inventory feed. Next on the agenda is D2C and Dealer Spike. Our platform is a little unique. We allow for all assets in one place. So auto RV, power sports, heavy equipment, farming, even e-bikes and golf carts.
Wow.
So those integration feeds are really important for us, seamlessly to transfer inventory over. Sadly not going to NADA, but I do look forward to you taking some video and making sure you get some blackmail material if possible.
Oh yeah. I'll be doing 40 plus interviews at least, if not more. So if you're going to be at the show, book your time now. I'm going to be slammed, but go ahead. Sorry.
Awesome. Sad to miss it.
Fantastic. Now A to Z sync, or A to Z sync if you're American. Obviously, I'm assuming you're going to have a booth this year. I know last year was kind of on the down low, but is there going to be a booth this year with A to Z? Or are you guys going to be just walking the floor, picking up deals? What's the deal?
No, there'll be a large presence of A to Z Sync and Amazon together at NADA. Obviously, the Amazon Autos program is now live, and there's an awful lot of misinformation, a lot of questions that people have. So we'll have a large presence there, not only to educate people on the opportunity that the Amazon Autos program gives to dealers, allowing them to retail their vehicles on the world's largest selling platform and get done deals coming into the store, but also having a more holistic conversation about the dealership experience, about minimizing technology, about really meeting the customer where they're at. And unlike everybody who's running for HI or AI, which is, what it is, we believe in HI, which is human intelligence. We still feel as if in the end, it's about an interpersonal relationship between the customer and the store staff, and getting technology out of the way and making it easier for those relationships to develop and really come to fruition is what we're all about. So, we're really excited for NADA. It's going to be a great event for us.
Fantastic. Love to do an interview at the show. I'm going to be at the Velo booth, which I believe is 835. I'll also be mobile, so I'll be there with my wife, so I'll have mobile gear available. Let me know if you have time. You can book it in the link in the description of this video, or you can definitely send me an email. Now, last but not least, I know Larry's real excited about NADA, and I'm sure we're going to be doing some interviews together. What's your plan for NADA at Career Changers USA or Career Changers International, as we say these days, Mr. Larry?
Absolutely. I'm excited to, there's a bunch of people that I've got appointments to meet with. Obviously like hanging with you. By the way, Troy, everybody else, can't wait to see you guys if you're going to be there. And Brandy, I attempted again to mail you my book, Inner More on Demons, but apparently it's very difficult to mail a book to Canada these days. I have no idea why. Maybe it'll get better. I understand that Trudeau is going to get a job in the post office since he's no longer around the country. Maybe that'll aid in it. But I'm Brandy. I'm sorry you're not going to be there. I'm hoping Troy and Doug are there. I would love to shake your hand and meet them. And stir the pot, have a little fun, learn some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those Americans, True Dummy or Trudeau Jr., as we like to call him, or Fidel Jr., I believe he's quitting today. So there is a new opportunity for someone who wants to lead the burning ship called the Liberal Party of Canada. So if you're interested, I think they're taking applications. Anyway, for 2025, obviously there's some discussion around AI technologies. There's discussion about integration with different OEMs. I put a poll up recently saying how many OEMs will be left. I know Honda and Nissan are merging. And there's talk about Mitsubishi being acquired and Subaru being acquired. What do you think that magic number is of OEMs integrating? Who wants to start? Maybe Brandy?
The magic number? Yeah, I think the first integration announcement came as a little bit of a shock to everybody. So that, you know, I think nothing would surprise me at this point. What I really want to understand is kind of the why. So first off, I want to get everybody's take on who do they expect to integrate and why would they why is the thought there?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Right?
I mean, when you look at Mercedes and Stellantis years ago trying to integrate, that was interesting. And I know Carlos Ghosn had some comments on the merger between Nissan and Honda, probably from his home bunker. But you know, I was kind of curious as to what you think. Maybe Doug. I mean, you're obviously dealing with a lot of OEMs. What do you think about this merger stuff going on?
Well, I think the Honda Nissan merger, I kind of like the idea of those two coming together. I think it's, I don't know, it makes sense to me. I could see Stellantis doing something. They've certainly been struggling, but, you know, given their new leadership, perhaps that they're going to right that ship. I'm curious if one of these offshoot EV companies like a Rivian or something like that will merge with a company, if somebody will absorb them so they have a better platform that they can literally go out and start selling through franchise dealers. I don't really foresee a great deal of shrinkage as far as the OEMs. There may be one other merger, but I personally don't, but that's just based on pure speculation.
Well, there's
Well,
Scout.
I believe that they would wrap Mitsubishi in, from what I could see. The only odd thing was after they announced that they were discussing it, I believe the head of Nissan seemed somewhat down on the idea. Very strange comment coming from him right after they announced they were talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's so abnormal to see something like this that, yeah, there's bound to be a lot of second guessing. And I found the timeline interesting. I mean, they won't have it wrapped up till next year at this time. So certainly a lot of room for moving and reassessing this.
And I believe that they said they only have a year's worth of workable cash. So if there was ever a time deadline and a little heat on a situation, I would think this would be it.
Yeah.
Well, what also comes with that change too, right? Like, so there's the mergers, but when change happens, big change is the ripple effect. So what else are they going to announce in these changes? You know, whether it be different platforms of selling, different styles of selling, different markets, etc. I'm curious as to what unravels.
What do you think?
I believe Nissan announced that they were going to do a human sacrifice of Carlos Ghosn. So that might draw a little interest.
They're still trying to extradite him, I hear, from I'm not sure where his home country is, but they can't extradite him from there. So he was, of course, jumping on this because he was poking the tiger. What do you think, Troy?
Well, I mean, as far as the number of OEMs, I just came from Mexico a couple weeks ago, and I know you did some of your MBA stuff in China.
Yeah.
But in Mexico, there's all of the same OEMs we have here in North America at Renault, Peugeot, Cupra, which is a VW brand. There's a few of the Chinese brands down there. And I think that when you look back in 2008, General Motors had a Buick car, an Oldsmobile car, Chevrolet car, that were all more or less the same car, a little bit of trim detail difference. And they compressed that, and now they all have separate lines. I think a lot of these brands are so large and so complex that all of this merger stuff that we're seeing today is like 2008, where they're just desperately trying to react to Chinese pressure, economic pressure, things of that nature. So are we going to see some more mergers? For sure. That's why VW put, what was it, $500 million or whatever into Rivian. There's a lot of people that, or a lot of OEMs and brands out there globally that could easily come into North America. And I mean, VW is doing the same thing with Scout right now.
Yeah.
So when you look at a global situation as far as the OEMs are concerned, a lot of these OEMs that you think own 4 or 5 brands, they actually own 10, because they also own a bunch all over Europe and Asia. And I think there's some compression that can still take place. But in typical large OEM fashion, when the disruptors, the Rivians, the Lucids, the Teslas, and everyone comes up, and now VinFast and some of the other, Chinese brands that are trying to make headway, they're doing their best to react. So is there a magic number? I think the magic number is whatever the OEMs need to do to survive. And then exactly like Brandy said, are there going to be new selling models? 1,000%, because you can't react to Tesla, or they tried to react to Tesla by going some online. Genesis saw some great success. Their dealers are trying to sue VW to stop Scout from being able to sell direct to consumer, but at some point they're just going to have to adapt to it. So just like them selling cars online, which everyone was reticent to do until COVID hit, now everyone's doing it. Can you go direct to consumer? I was speaking with a dealer who I won't name, said, we have an agency model with some of our OEMs, and we make more money because we don't have all the hassle of worrying about negotiating on the prices. They protect the front end. They're less likely to make rash decisions. We get paid a very handsome delivery fee. Plus, we have a lot of opportunity to sell stuff in the back end. So, I think there's some reticence to the agency model because it's new. But I think the OEM consolidation and new sales tactics and all the stuff that comes with it, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see either a new sort of, conglomerate of OEMs. We'll see some brands from other OEMs that they have globally come in just to shake things up. And we'll see some new disruptors. I mean, I didn't see, I think it was back on this show like 3 years ago when we heard of Lucid coming, and now they're delivering. It's a pretty fast turnaround. So who knows what we're going to see in 5 years? And I think, is there a magic number? No, I think it's just it'll shake out. And our business is evolving anyway. So who knows, 5 years after that, it'll be different again.
Yeah, I mean, I had a curious question for Brandy, since she talked a little bit about motorsports and power sports and RVs, I'm assuming. I mean, do you have any thoughts on those markets? I mean, we don't talk about them much on the show because we're really not an expert in it, but what are you hearing from those dealers who are in those different markets that are still selling something on wheels, or something on water, but what are they seeing there?
They are very different. Like I always, power sports, heavy equipment, etc. I really do feel, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but they are years behind in really their options. Automotive is very saturated, even with companies like mine. And that's kind of why we looked at different laterals, so that you could expand and you have different markets to reach out to. But yeah, that's the cowboy way of doing things. Like RV is very different. It's the old time of, hey, your rep calls you and says, I need to move 3 more units. I'll give you free flooring for the first 6 months while you take them. You know what I mean? That's not, allocation is different. Expectations are different. The whole buying style is different. So I feel like they're all of the other industries sit back and look at what auto is doing, and then slowly trickle happens behind. Not near the tools that they should have, for sure.
Interesting. And Doug, I have a question for you. I mean, obviously we're rolling out with Amazon. What has been the reaction or the feedback from the participating dealers already and from the customers? I know Amazon's big on ratings. Like what's the feedback so far?
Well, I would say at this point, it's been very positive. We know that this is an ever-evolving platform, an ever-evolving program, but thus far, the feedback's been great. Kind of to what Troy said, I mean, there's no negotiating. Dealers are getting done deals coming into their store. Customers are coming in and leaving in 15 minutes with their car. It even has a positive effect on the compensation model for dealerships when I don't have to sell the car, so I can change how I'm compensating my employees for this. I think there's certainly going to be always room for improvement. There's room for, just making tweaks to the program. And that's the best thing about this. That this is a true partnership between, in this case, Hyundai, Amazon, and the dealer. We're soliciting feedback from all parts and continue to kind of iterate our ways towards the ultimate platform that'll probably, we're ways away before everything's done, but thus far, very positive. Let's face it, if I as a customer can go to a site that I'm used to and perform an entire purchase, and all I have to do is go into the dealership and pick up my car, for a lot of customers, that's very, very enticing. That's very interesting. And what's interesting is, again, the price becomes less of a factor. I'll pay for the convenience.
Is that just Hyundai, or is there Genesis as well?
Just Hyundai right now.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Doug, it's still evident that the number one complaint at dealerships is how long it takes. So this would really seem to be something that would benefit everybody, because you're right. What are we supposed to be? Problem solvers. Find an issue that needs to be resolved that we can help with. And man, I've been a salesman. I've been a dealership owner. It's always the same thing. Salespeople stamping their feet, waiting for somebody to get in the finance office, and how quickly the fizzle goes out of the soda. How people just start to lose excitement and momentum. Yeah, it's definitely a wide open field and such a need.
Yeah, what's really exciting from a dealership standpoint is, the first time they really are dealing with the customer is for the best part, and that's the delivery of the vehicle. They don't have to deal with them for the paperwork. They don't have to deal with them through negotiations or any of that. So all that stuff that is viewed by many people as being unpleasant, that's just handled through A to Z and Amazon. And when you come into the store, this is the best part of it. Let's deliver the car. Let's introduce you to parts and service. Let's make you a lifetime customer. So it's a really refreshing way to buy a car.
And being expeditious is a way to profit. There's nobody that doesn't understand used cars. They'll tell you that the key is a quick turn. That when cars hang around the lot too long, you get hurt. You don't even realize you're getting hurt until you really dial into your statement backwards and realize what your real cost was at the sale, rather than what you brought the car in for and what you think you sold it for. So if you can, the old thing, if you and I are on the floor and you take 3 hours to sell a car and I take an hour, I can talk to and sell more people in a day.
Yeah. And how do you see, Larry, as you're around dealerships and you're helping hire staff and training them, how do you see that challenge moving forward with finding sort of younger people that maybe want to do it, but more importantly, how do you see them adapting to the changes that are happening right now versus 2 years ago?
I think it's strictly a matter of dealership management and the way that people are treated. If you make an atmosphere conducive, people want to work with you, right? I'm just saying things that we're all aware of. People, one of the primary reasons people leave their jobs is their boss, that they're not nurtured. Listen, me, Doug, Ian, we're not 12 years old. We're adults. And we remember when we got into the car business, it was real simple. How can I make the most money? We weren't very touchy-feely. We didn't want to hug the boss. Where can I make the most money? But so many other things have changed the parameters and what motivates people. So I think if you combine making it easier and dialing in with the digital end, and the fact that I don't know anybody that you can resent Amazon for what the effect is on smaller businesses, but the same people that complain about it still use Amazon, because being quick, being easy is the key to everything. I mean, Doug, I was on I watched somebody and I was really shocked, because it was somebody, I believe, in their early 30s, late 20s, and they were saying how much they hate shopping. I'm an old guy. I'll tell you the truth. I like going to some place where I can look at something and touch it, or maybe if it's a piece of clothing, try it on. But I'm a damn dinosaur. People today are in a mode where I want to hit a button, I want it delivered, I want it quick. And again, if we can take the pain points out, the paperwork, the delays, all it can lead to is moving more cars, making it faster. And as you said, the premium of cost becomes less painful when it's ease of delivery.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And you still have that in spite of everything that this industry is doing technology-wise and everything, you still have that core problem or opportunity, if you will, of let's sell the car the way the customer wants to buy it. No matter what that may be, let's offer them that. You want to do it online? Great. You want to do half and half? Great. You want to come into the store? Great. But no matter what, let's meet the customer where they're at, how they want to buy it, and let's make sure that our employees are in an environment where they can thrive and they can continue to grow. Don't
Hey,
just stifle them.
Doug, I heard Brandy pipe up. I want to just throw one comment out before she jumps in. I think the problem, dialing back to what Ian asked me, is dealerships to me equate to very big ships. If you and me are on a rowboat and you say, hey, Larry, let's go towards that shore, we row in a different direction. But when you've got a really big ship, it takes a long time to change direction or maneuver. And a lot of these places, the bureaucracy is so insidious. It takes so long to accomplish anything or change anything. I mean, everybody calls culture. But after it goes through about 12 layers, people either give up or just keep moving in the same direction. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt, Randy. It sounded like you were jumping in.
Actually, I think you actually answered my question, to be honest, because this really does fascinate me. Why did we need Amazon to do this for dealers? You know,
is it that Amazon, if you've ever seen any pictures of Jeff Bezos, the early ones, he looks pathetic. He's in a little garage, he's got wires hanging down. But what he discovered is if you make these things easy in an era where people are plugged into their devices, it works. So it doesn't shock that an Amazon or a Tesla would make these moves because they think so far out of the box conventionally. If it's 20 years ago and I'm sitting with Doug Reeves and I say, listen, I got a great idea. We'll set up this thing through a computer and people will stop going into stores. Doug would say, Larry, are you insane? It costs $200 million to build a mall. That's what people want.
100% agree. We have Mr. Hayden on. Maybe, Tim, you have a thought on customer experience and change in 2025 as we talk about Amazon getting into the car business?
Yeah, I mean, there's, as you guys know, there are no solutions in life. There are trade-offs. There are winners and losers with every decision you make. And that is especially true when it comes to technology and media. So with that, I do agree with what I was able to join and hear Doug narrating. I had the opportunity to hear some of his colleagues and Amazon employees or AWS employees also talking about a digital dealer this last year. The truth be told, my firm Brain Trust, we are a partner with AWS. The problem with Amazon is what Larry has already said, is that maybe it's bureaucracy, or maybe it is just the ongoing rut that the industry has got itself into now, where it is so focused on the top of the funnel and thinks that the variable side of the business, right? I made this joke at Autovate about how I would imagine some general sales managers and dealer principals probably have a spiral notebook on their desk, and it shows all the software as a service systems, all the licenses that they have bought into, and a lot of them for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and with beside it a number, like the number of units they're going to sell. And because that's how the software as a service folks, we're just a few weeks from NADA, and half the people are going to say, you start using our system, you're going to sell 10 more vehicles per month, right? There's that, which is the rut. And to the way you asked the question, Ian, is customer experience. There's a lot of folks I'm hearing more than ever, so this is a 2025 statement, who are saying, oh my God, think about what we can do for both fixed and variable revenue lifts if we just paid attention to the people who already bought from us.
Right.
If we 100%. Just did that. So while Amazon's a beautiful, frictionless experience, and I agree with Doug, go where the fish are and capitalize on a partner like that who's going to make it real easy. You guys all know that it's been several years since we last worked with him, but Brian Benstock had that same view. He said, Google is fantastic about bringing people to the dealer. Amazon proved to us that the business needs to go to their front door. you have to understand that it's all about serving the customer wherever they are. So I look back to Larry, because this is about retooling. And I'm sorry, I'm not totally familiar with Brandy or Troy so much. But this is change management. This is behavior change. How do we quarter by quarter? We got to do the same thing by all of our vendors pushing AI at us. We've all got to come together, vendors, the customer, who is the dealer, and we've got to work together to orchestrate how this is going to happen and how we're going to do that. So my short answer there too is that we're going to hear a lot of dealers, I think, in Q3, Q4 of this year who are crying because they've lost business, and they're going to point to tariffs or no tariffs. They're going to point to something that Biden did or something Trump did or something they didn't do, right? They're just going to do that, right? Because they don't know that there's self-accountability and that they have control.
Yep.
Where they need to point is the mirror. They need to look in the damn mirror.
That's it.
Because the same guys that complain don't understand the importance of fixed operations and having a tire display and making the world change favorable price-wise to everybody else. They don't understand the orphan files. Unless you're in a state like Ohio and Virginia, most of the states in the United States, if you send me a customer, I have $100 for you. And there's nobody breathing that doesn't want that 100. People drive their Bentleys across town to save 3 cents on a gallon or a liter of gas. But imagine if we now took the concept of Doug Reeves, of Amazon, and making it very fast, but we also went back to our orphan files, and we also had somebody standing in service. Because that's the one thing Amazon can't do. They can't push a car through the computer link and fix it. So if we need the same, there were guys when I started in the business that heard leasing was coming in and they quit. They heard computers were coming in and they quit. But the people that are smart enough to embrace everything and realize you want to have every damn tool in your toolkit are the ones that are going to be successful. By the way, Tim, you would a direct message me. I'm still working on your computer. I'll have it back as soon as I can figure out how to make those.
I was waiting for that. I know, Larry, you don't wait for the show to stop to kind of let me know what's going on. So I appreciate it.
Brandy's not familiar. Brandy, while I might be the world's greatest and least humble trainer and recruiter, my technical aspects stop with the fact that I don't even wear shoes with laces. I just go with loafers, because even that's too technically above my pay grade.
Before we get off the topic of the change here, Tim, you made a real good point. You brought up Brian Benstock. And I think what Larry said reinforces what I'm about to say, which is the difference between the Amazon and then the old school inflexible dealer, like you said, the ones that have to learn to adapt and look in the mirror, Larry, is Brian made himself successful and his team successful and became the #1 Honda dealer in the world because they didn't react to what was going on. They were reacting to what was coming. And his team,
you mean proactive instead of reactive?
Yeah. But what I mean though is him and his team are always analyzing what the future is coming. What are the trends? What do I see in other industries that we can bring into ours? Other dealers, we said the word blame. We said we're going to point at Trump or Biden or tariffs or this or that. That's exactly the way we see a lot of our industry go. Is everybody's fault but their own? I didn't see it coming, or this isn't fair, or some other, my OEM this or my government that. But if you took and strategized and said, maybe the way I'm doing this right now isn't the best way, even though my dad and his dad have done it that way for the last 40, 50 years, can I look in the mirror? Can I look to other industries? Can I look to other peers that are successful? And do I have the courage to adapt and stand behind it? It doesn't matter. The systems and the tools are what gets that done. But at that first mindset of, I am not only going to think outside the box, I'm going to pretend there is no box anymore and truly be revolutionary. And you want to talk about people that want to work for a company. Brian's got disciples. He's got people that get up with him at 4:30 in the morning, and like 25 of his staff go for a run with him. You want to talk about culture, that's where it's at.
Right.
Yeah, but think about it, Tim and Troy. Think of how strong a business model Kodak cameras had and VHS tapes were. If we only look, it's like looking at your statement and congratulating yourself because of what you made and not analyzing what could we possibly have missed. How much quicker could our turn have been on used cars? How much more business could we have captured? If you're only looking at what's in front of you, that's all you're going to see. But when you start breaking the barriers, and look, again, back to Bezos, look where he started. Yeah, we'll ship some books around. We're human. We put our own limits on ourselves. Once we realize there's no limits, Tim, when I'm in class, I love to ask people what penicillin was derived from, and most of them don't realize it was moldy bread. Changed the world. Prior to that, you got hurt, you lost your leg, and you died.
Right.
You know, everything right up until it happens is impossible.
I'll still eat moldy bread today instead of seeing my doctor for that reason. So, I'm going to go just a slight digression here, but I've had the chance over the holidays to connect. I'm here in Texas, and I've got a number of people that I grew up with that are now athletic directors and head football coaches in high school, right? And you hear it at the end of the games, right? When they interview coaches, or even before a game, the rival is 3 weeks away, and they ask them, "How are you feeling about?" If it's Texas, they're saying, "How are you feeling about A&M?" And Sark would say, "Hey, I'm not worried about that right now. I've got to handle Oklahoma right now, right?
Right.
I've got to do it 1 week at a time." Right. Well, so my football coach buddies are explaining to me about the technologies they use today. They use Huddle, which is a computer vision system that allows you to understand all the mechanics of the opposing team. It's not you watching the tape as much as it is AI watching the tape, and it's starting to identify strengths and weaknesses again with your opponent, and it's also doing the same thing with your own team based on what you've done over the previous weeks. And then it matches the things together, and it says, "Hey, this is the short list of plays that you have that might work pretty well in your game plan." But the coaches, being the great maestros and artists that they are, they go in as generals of their armies. They go in and they make it in their own voice, and they do their own thing. And this is just where I get to, not just car dealers, but this is to all of my clients in any industry right now. The pace of play right now, to the point that I've heard several people just echo, it's not what is being done to us. It's just what everybody else around us is doing, right? I mean, your biggest competition right now is not the Ford dealer across town. Your biggest competition right now is actually Google and Apple and Meta. I mean, Meta just announced 3 days ago, they're just going to go ahead and come up with little AI influencers to keep you looking at Instagram and to keep you looking at Facebook, right? I mean, you got to understand that there's things happening in the ether around you that you've got to deal with. But better than that, you've got all the data right now, and you've got the opportunity to find out what's working. It's what Larry was just talking about, is how do we make our call times go down by 10%? How do we, to give us more time to do something else, to make outbound calls? How do we get more fluidity between what's happening in fixed ops and the sales floor? How do we get marginal opportunities to get 1 or 2 more vehicles sold between 2 individuals because we've got data that shows us that they're doing something right, or they have something that's improvable? I mean, that's the big opportunity. And I think what I hear all the time is that dealers just don't have the time, or they don't understand. They've invested in so much technology already. And in all due respect to CDK and DMS world, a lot of them are looking to the DMS to be able to make these things happen. And let's just be honest, that's a big, big battleship. Sticking with Feldman's metaphor, that's too hard to turn. So this is where we got to have fluid read-write API connections with the DMS to make some of these new systems that do this kind of analysis work. I mean, it's everybody having to work at once.
To build on what you're saying, one of the most dangerous excuses in life, and I hear it all the time, just like everybody on this show does, is I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Unless like they're doing weird things that I'm not aware of. Everybody has the exact amount of minutes, hours in a day as everybody else. And when you start trapping yourself into, I don't have time, what it usually means is they're not using their time properly or maximizing their efforts. Doug, you're everywhere. Tell me you haven't ever seen this. Every dealership has one guy making 160,000 and one guy that can't make 40. And the guy that can't make 40 will tell you everything's wrong with the dealership. And the guy that making 160 is actually too busy to tell you what's wrong because he's actually talking to customers and doing some things. This isn't complicated. We're alive and one day we're dead. In between, we want to have as much fun, make as much money, spend as much time with our family, throw in some sex and pizza. I like to keep the Texas guys motivated there. Right? Tim actually revealed to me that the last page of the Dallas Cowboys playbook has the phone number for the suicide prevention hotline.
Brandon, did you have some thoughts? You've been quiet there.
I did. Well, I actually wanted to add to what Tim said about Facebook and the AI announcement. They actually announced that they have had AI implemented since 2020. They created a couple different characters. You've all read this and watched the story on this, and I just find here is a few things came to mind. First off, the fact that AI is being implemented into Facebook to engage with people, feel a more trusting connection so that they can spend more time and buy more of the stuff on the ads. Now, what was interesting about that is that AI was mirroring people and it choosing manipulation over truth. And that's what actually struck me the most. We're all dependent on this AI and it's going to be better and the consumer's going to love it more until it starts to counteract against us. And now these exact two artificial intelligence beings, whatever you want to call them, that they created, they've actually decided to remove them. Brian and Liv, I think, were their names. And to me, that really struck me because now, you know, our hot topic on the last couple of shows I've been have all been AI. And how is that going to counteract against us? You know, it used to be, well, you know, the salesperson told me this. Now it's going to be the artificial intelligence told me this to get the deal. You know what I mean? Who's closing? And with the right agenda or the wrong agenda, how's that going to react for us?
That's interesting. Yeah, when you look at AI, I mean, I've been playing around with a lot of tools, mostly on the creative side, but also on the discussion side. I mean, you can now basically create fake people that basically will say whatever you want. And I've been playing around with some female characters on one of the sites. I think it's called Hey Something. But it's interesting. I did a bunch during the Christmas season. It's a fake Santa Claus that says whatever you want, which was kind of crazy, to be honest. But, you know, I mean, it's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know there.
Well,
Randy,
what's the elephant in the room, though? And I think everybody will know what I'm talking about here is the number of vendors that are talking about doing voice, making voice total AI, right? And the BDC community, the BDC community hasn't fought back near hard enough on that, I don't think. But the dealers, I think, are making a huge mistake by yielding human empathy to something that is at best right now is trained on some FAQ and maybe trained on some other data in the dealer, and only those dealers that have been leaning the most forward, right? That have actually taken the step and made the investment to do that. But you're doing the same thing that I was saying before, is instead of just being wrapped up at the top of the funnel, running your business transactionally, just on how many vehicles you're going to sell. Now you're doing the same thing with the humans who drive them and saying, how am I going to convert so many people without using human time? I mean, that to me is a huge, huge misstep. And I'm not excited at all about AI.
Tim, it's unbelievably dangerous. To Brandy's point about what's true, we're all prisoners to how pervasive social media is. Because I'm not kidding now. Tim knows we're pretty good buddies. I'm a historian. I read a lot of history. And the problem with history is you're reading the opinion of the person that wrote the history, depending on whose side they're sympathetic with. But it still meant you had to be a reader and you had to have show a little bit of interest and perhaps read a second book with a counterintuitive message. But today you see why do we have people doing crazy, dangerous things that get them killed? People jumping off trains and doing weird things because they see a million other idiots doing it and they go, okay, I'll be just one other idiot. But if you make it strictly non-empathetic, to continue on Tim's point, no AI can put their arm around you. They can't smile at you. They can't say, man, I hate when that happens to me. That's why the key, I think everybody understands, is taking AI as a tool. Here, the reason I was late to the show, Tim, I got it a little before you, is I got a new employee and I was helping them place an ad for me. And they said, what about this stuff that just popped up on the job description? I said, get rid of it. It's AI and it's all the stuff why most dealers aren't successful, because it's such a blueprint, here it is in black and white, rather than warmth, rather than, hey, this is interesting and this is fun. So I think we're all of the same mind. If we can take a concept of making this faster, if we can make it where you don't have to go into the dealership other than to pick up the car, and then wrap it in with a human being that delivers you beautifully, introduces you to service. Because the only thing that's scary, Doug, is if there's no socialization in the dealership, we still lose them anyway, because most of the leakage today is through fixed operations. They go to a tire place or an oil change, and you lose them anyway.
Totally, and that's one of the things that we're stressing entirely is the golden opportunity here is what happens when the customer comes into the store, because there's your chance to really, really make an impression on the customer. They've had this great experience online. Now capitalize on it, expand upon it, make them lifetime customers. This is your golden opportunity. Since you don't have to waste time with anything else, you've got time to really develop a true relationship. Don't blow this.
But the challenge, my buddy, is, and please, I mean no disrespect. I particularly love everybody on this show, and I generally like people. I'm not misanthropic. But I think half the world are complete imbeciles. And I don't mean any disrespect to the discrimination imbecile crew. Look how popular Ozempic and drugs that can make you lose weight are. Even though they haven't been around long enough to prove that maybe 6 years from now your eyeballs fall out. How about, and this is really radical, I might throw everybody off here, Ian. How about if every time you wanted to have something with sugar, you drank a glass of water, and every time you caught yourself sitting in front of the TV, you jumped rope or did some jumping jacks? Now that should not be a radical concept. No. But it seems like we're in a position in life where, there's something wrong. My kid can't pay attention at school. Let me put him on drugs. Let me find a solution that might be worse than the problem.
Troy, you had a thought?
I have just the same, what you said that in perfect timing, Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I tell car dealers, I'm like, do you remember what Saturn used to do? Saturn used to walk you out to the car with a Polaroid camera in their hand, and they would take 2 photos of you with that new car smile on your face next to your car, and they would give you one of the PIP photos, and the other one they would go put on a massive wall in the dealer. And they knew that you take that home and put it on your fridge and show all your friends, right?
Right.
Well, here we are today. And it's when I wrote my book in 2014 about mobile commerce, I said, this is all my buddies there in the granite countertop business. They do kitchen renovations. I said, what you need to do as soon as you get done with the job, you need to ask the person who owns the house, hey, let me get your phone. Give me your phone. I'll take a picture of you in your kitchen. Right. And same thing, take a photo, hand it back to them. What are they going to do with it? They're going to tell all their friends. They're going to do all that. That's the smallest little thing to do. It's a couple ounces of culture, and it's a whole lot of customer experience, and it's, guess what? It's branding. It is branding at the end of the day. And it's so simple.
Yeah. I think, I've said this on the AI shows before. It's that AI is absolutely great in a place where you need something gap filler or problem solve. For example, am I going to staff a receptionist at 5 a.m.? No. So would it be great to have someone who could take that call and break? Can I hire somebody who speaks 50 languages fluently and changes in real time? Probably not. If that's a concern of mine, maybe I should look into it. But also, you need to do the human stuff better. The human stuff is huge, but we talked a little bit back about half an hour ago about the time in the dealership. Larry said the biggest complaint from dealers or customers is the time in store. Well, what we see that AI has made huge inroads in the legal business. And a lot of that boilerplate legal documentation and mumbo jumbo that we used to pay people $150 to $500 an hour to generate can be done by AI in seconds. Well, it's not a big leap to say that all of that legal paperwork stuff that needs to be done should be able to be generated by AI. One pen whip, someone to discuss it and walk them through a conversation in 30 seconds. Get all that other crap out of the way so that you can sell them meaningful things that will help them protect their investment, or move them into fixed ops and make customers for life, to use Doug's term. And I think that if AI used in the right places is huge, but if you don't do the human stuff right, all the great experience that you're setting people up with an expectation of drops dead at the door. And you know, my best example is there's a great dealer that used to have amazing car commercials, great Facebook ads, great ads on retargeting on YouTube. And then when you walked in the store, there were 3 guys standing up front smoking. The store was boring. Half the balloons were falling down off the antennas, and all of the glitz and glamour they promised fell short. They did the right stuff wrong, and that's really huge. Is that you gotta be good at people.
100%. The experience is only good if it goes through the entire process. If you set up that experience, you're going on a resort somewhere and they got these great photos on Expedia, and then you get there and it doesn't look at all like that place. That's a challenge, right? I mean, I think as we've been talking about for years. Yeah.
That's the challenge vendors have. When a vendor comes into a store, regardless of what he's promising, if it's going to be a significant change to the dealer's operation, if the dealer's not willing to commit 100% that he's going to do this and it's going to be done the right way, the vendor needs to walk away. And the vendor needs to have hard conversations saying, this is not going to be easy. I mean, you brought up Brian Benstock earlier. He's one of our clients. He knew how hard going one person was going to be in his Acura store, but they did it. Yeah. And we told them it was going to be hard. And we tell every dealer, if you're looking for a significant change, this is not going to be easy. And if you're not willing to do the work, we might as well stop right now, because it's going to be a waste of your time and my time. And frankly, I don't need practice launching stores just so you can churn in 6 months. And that's really the hard conversation vendors need to have with dealers, is just saying, are you in, or are you just saying you're in? Because there's a big difference.
100%. So we're almost out of time. So final thoughts. Let's start with Brandy.
Well, just back to the Amazon, where I think we're actually really lucky is that companies like Amazon have done all the dirty work, have done all the hard work, not all of it, but majority of it, in that transition to retrain our brain to think that this is the way to go. And so if at the very least, if we couldn't figure it out ourselves, if we can rely on companies like this that have already trained our consumers to think a different way, yeah, we're already going in the right direction. And then also just to pay attention, you know, the Brian Benstocks of the world are the innovators. They're the early adapters. They are the ones that are going to spread the news and get the rest of the flame to the rest of the crowd. So cheers to them as well.
Troy? Thanks, Brandy.
Well, you know, I always love these conversations. They're open because you never know where it's going to go. But I am very excited for 2025. I'm very excited for NADA. And I think that, you know, there's changes in leadership in both countries in North America. And whatever side of the fence you fall on a belief on that, if there's some sort of optimism change in the economy, that's only going to benefit our customers, would benefit us. And I think 2025 is going to be very exciting and very new. And when we do the year-end show in 2025, maybe play this one back and see if we're still talking about the same stuff, Ian.
Absolutely. Doug?
You know, the one thing I want to stress to everybody is companies like Amazon, in this case, in our case, are not a threat to our industry. They're truly looking to be an asset and a partner to dealers. They're not looking to replace dealers. They're not looking to upend, you know, the dealership model. They're just looking to make it better for dealers. And I think it's important that dealers understand that there are big companies like Amazon out there that are saying, we're here to help. We're not a threat. And if dealers would accept that fact, then maybe they'd be open to what companies like Amazon and A to Z offer them.
Fantastic. Larry, I know you have no thoughts at all. Go ahead.
No, none. I'm really excited for 2025 also. I agree with Doug that the enemy is not Amazon or anybody outside. The enemy is the person we see in the mirror. If we limit what we're capable of, if we don't look forward, if we're not constantly moving forward, we're in trouble. And Brandy, I'm sorry you're not going to NADA. I look forward to talking to you and seeing you. And obviously everybody else can't wait to shake your hand and talk to you in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Mr. Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, there's if you just listen to what we're saying, there's a whole lot of stoicism that I'm hearing people talk about, which is instead of getting wrapped up in that which you cannot control, right? Which you cannot steer,
right?
Look at what you can, and that is first and foremost is going to be your own operations. It's going to be and how do you do that? Through better communication and by knowing your customer, knowing your business, knowing your inventory, all of these things, right? And you think but you don't have it as deep, and you're not leveraging it the way that you really could as a symphony together. And lastly, your vendors, you've got to understand that they have to play nice with you now. There's a lot of talk about how AI is just going to obliterate software as a service. A new term I heard, was service as a software is what we're starting to see with AI. Right now, the non-software companies are the ones that have all of the power to dictate what they do with their investments in technology, with their subscriptions, and how they weave it into their operations. So, just that's what I want everybody to keep in mind as they are shopping or demoing anything at NADA or otherwise. So
thanks for that. Happy New Year. Have a great week. And we'll see you all in New Orleans. And Brandy, you can watch the interviews. Have a great day.
I will.
Bye-bye. There we go. Done.